you, everybody. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Assembly SAP Review Committee. And I'd like to start with intros, and we'll start on this side.
All with us, Deputy Chief Fiscal Officer.
Robert Harris, CFO.
Elby Gray Jackson. What's your name, fella?
What is mine? Tim Smith.
Pete Peterson.
Dick Trainers.
Barbara Jones, Municipal Clerk.
And I'm going to take a moment. I know there's a lot of folks in the audience, but I want everybody to introduce themselves. Please, start here.
Hi, I'm Teresa Halligan, Enterprise Application Manager.
Gail Turner, IT Deputy Director. Linda Gibson, Finance Director, AWW.
Alan LeBlanc, Executive Accountant, MI Finance.
Chair Easley, Slightly.
Molly Morrison, MLMP Controller and Acting Finance Division Manager.
Mike Chadwick, Internal Audit.
Scott Hooper, IT Business Analyst.
Tom.
Kim Park, Deputy Program Manager for Synergy.
Tom Dale, SAP.
Tom Delphil, SAP. David Hancock, IT System Analyst.
Dan Moore, Treasury.
Doug Miller, Wasserman and Associates. Justin Martin, AOB.
Thank you. And our mission statement has changed a little bit, and I haven't updated it because, as everybody knows, the current administration has put a pause on the SAP program. So the mission of this committee at this point is to continue to have a monthly meeting right after the Budget and Finance Committee meeting to get an update on the current administration's progress on their review of the SAP system, and that's why we're here today. And the Deputy Controller, Alden Thurn, has the floor right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sat in this room with you a couple of times, and Mr. Trainee as well. Been here 3 days, and am very happy to be over with the municipality and looking forward to going through this project. And Mr. Steele, we've worked together in the past as well. So I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of an update of what I've done in 3 days, and then obviously answer any questions that you may have. Certainly want to take your input into consideration as we go through this process. But basically, since I've been here, we've been having multiple meetings with a variety of different people, both within the municipality as well as with many of the contractors that are over in the Sunshine Building. Basically trying to get myself up to speed as fast as possible on what the current project status is. Get the history, find out what's been happening, and more importantly, where are we at right now, what are things that still need to be looked at, what questions need to be answered. And we've been compiling a variety of different business decisions that have yet to be finalized, so we want to make sure we're looking at all of those. And as you mentioned, we are taking a pause right here. The contracting work will go through the end of next Friday, and then the blueprinting stage, which is what we've been at, will end while we take a look at our options. Beginning on Monday is our first meeting with the External Review Committee, the 7 members of the community that are going to be tasked with coming over and spending some time of their personal time to kind of evaluate basically where we're at with the SAP program and any options that might be available to them. So the very first meeting will be here on Monday with that particular group. I intend to basically inundate them with documentation so that they can also get up to speed as far as where the project currently is. From a historical standpoint, where are we at right now with regards to how much work has been done and completed? We have a configured system out there. We just need to take a look at fixing some of the issues that were identified in that quality assurance audit back done in January, and then where we're at and how far the blueprinting stage has come. And then in addition, we'll talk about what it's going to take to be able to get that project completed. And at the same time, look at any other alternatives that might be available to the municipality to look at either alternative systems, phasing, scaling, just kind of look at a variety of different things to see what the options are, what the costs of each of those might be, what the timelines of those might be. I think everyone's aware that our current system is in need of replacement, and we certainly are looking forward to having a system in that we can rely on going forward. So basically in 3 days, that's what I've been up to and what the plan is of where we're going.
Thank you, Mr. Trainee.
It's good to see you again. A couple of questions. First of all, can you send a synopsis on the 7 people on the committee? Because I have no idea who they are, and I'd like to be familiar with their background expertise.
Certainly, in a press release that were on the bottom, but I
If you'd email it to us, we'd appreciate
Sure.
it. And what's our current burn rate?
The current burn rate on a weekly basis, which will obviously will end next week, is approximately $250,000 a week with the contractors and consultants that are on.
So when do you foresee that ending?
End of next Friday is when that will be substantially eliminated.
Okay, and what's the scenario if we're dealing with the hotel rooms we are in contract with?
I believe
Because we
they,
send the contractors home, I don't want those rooms staying empty and us paying for them.
right, I believe, and I don't know the specific details, I know that they were being handled by purchasing, I believe, and a few other areas, Glenda might be able to give more information, but we certainly are looking at that.
I can let you know that Tammy Oswald with Real Estate Services is trying to close out and cancel the leases on some apartments that were rented for the consultants. And if the leases can't be canceled, try to sublet those apartments. And Real Estate Services is working on it.
So we've already paid for the leases?
We committed to the leases.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we can find some people in Anchorage that need housing.
Thank you, Mr. Trainee.
Thank you.
Mr. Bosky?
It was my understanding after the work session we had with the administration that they're also trying to get out of the Sunshine Lease Mall. Is that right?
Yes, I do believe so.
Sunshine Mall lease. I said that backwards, didn't I?
How'd you get transposed?
I was saying my dyslexia is kicking in. So we don't have a status on that yet?
I believe Tammy Oswald's working on that one as well. I think the last I heard is that it may be more expensive to get out of the lease than to continue paying.
And so if we end up having it, again, I assume Real Estate Services will try the same method to sublease. I'll just say I voted no on that. Just saying.
Thank you, Mr. Bosky. Mr. Trainee, you looking like you have
I'm just
something to
thinking we
say?
can contract with Brother Francis Shelter. If they're full, we can move some people to Sunshine Mall. Maybe the contract would be eliminated in a hurry that way.
Thank you, Mr. Trainee.
Thinking out of the box, Mr. Trainee. Thinking out of the box.
We can do it.
No side conversations. We're in an official meeting. Thank you. Please continue.
So that's pretty much what we've been working on and what the goal is. Like I said, the other aspect that we're doing is that there are a variety of blueprints that have been in design phase and have been worked on between the consultants and the administration, and we are making that a priority to get those finished up by the end of next Friday. So I know you're referring to Mr. Trainee with regards to the burn rate. So we're getting our money, continue on the blueprints through next Friday, and we're getting all the ones that were in process. Goal is to get all those finalized, put into the solution system so that they're held and maintained. So when we pick the project up, if SAP is the system thing, then we continue on and we have that. If we go a different direction, then we'll have that as well. So that is what they're really focusing right now on, is trying to get all those blueprints that have been in process and have been started, completed.
Thank you, Mr. Trainee.
So we should not anticipate any other contracts coming in front of the assembly or any other business items relating to SAP.
I believe there's 2 that are currently like on hold or pending. I don't know the exact terminology. Those are going to stay in that until after the
Do you want us to
committee.
hold them, or do you want us to just terminate them and you guys can bring them back to us?
I don't know. I would like to just have them held out there. If that's, I don't know the correct terminology. That right
Okay,
now
well, we
they're
have
not
between now
going to be
and
acted
Tuesday.
upon. Right now they don't need to be
Between now
acted.
and Tuesday, so let us know what you prefer.
Thank you, Mr. Trainee,
Thank you,
Mr.
ma'am.
Peterson, and then Mr. Bosky.
Thanks, Madam Chair. And do you have an idea approximately how long the pause is going to last?
Well, I'd like to say it's going to be as long as it's necessary to come up with the committee feeling assured that they have gone through the process and have made due diligence to be able to go through there. I would probably target no more than 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, they are private citizens who are working. And my goal would be to meet once a week for at least 3 hours to try to get them, to provide them the information to be able to go through this process. We're not giving them a whole bunch of things that they have to focus on. It's, do we continue on one path, or do we stop and go down a different path? And there's a variety of information that we provided with that. I would imagine, though, that after that process, the administration's going to want to take a very good look at not only the results of what they work through, but in addition to that, as I mentioned, there are a handful of other major questions that have been kind of waiting to be answered, and it's certainly my efforts to get those answered during this pause phase, so that when both the committee is finished and we're ready to get back and discuss the future of this ERP system, we've got the answers to those questions, and we've got the committee's response, and then the administration is going to sit down, evaluate what the best option for the taxpayer is, best option for the solution, which we need for the municipality of Anchorage, and then be able to do that. How long, Mr. Pearson, that time period is, I don't know what it would take, but the committee, I'm going to try to shoot for 4 to 6 weeks, so maybe towards the end of September-ish, maybe first week of October, to kind of have them wrapped up, and the goal is to have them, have some kind of a recommendation in writing that they've evaluated, and this is what their viewpoint is on it, and then provide that to the administration, and then I'm sure we'll do a very thorough analysis of all the factors involved, and then roll it out at that point.
Thank you, Mr. Thurn. Mr. Peterson?
I had one follow-up,
Please-
if I might.
please follow
Are
up.
you using any information from our contractor, Zig, to evaluate the program?
I know Zig is going to be in the audience for the meeting on Monday. He and I are at meeting on after that, and we're also meeting every Tuesday. My role, I feel, is to keep him updated. I know he's keeping you updated, but in my function and what I'm doing right now, I feel I need to keep him updated on our progress as well. So you're probably going to be getting information from multiple sources, and my goal is to have it be the same information, but to make sure that everything is transparent and is out there so that everyone knows what's going on. But he's absolutely, we're involved in communication with him.
Thank you, Mr. Thurn. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Mr. Dombrowski?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I'm just to recap a little bit of that work session we had with the administration, the mayor did indicate that he was expecting to have a recommendation to the assembly, whether we postpone that decision on HANA specifically indefinitely, or whether we, postpone it to a date certain. So I expect that, they'll be able to give us direction Tuesday night. So that's just to address that. And then a couple of things. I'm glad to hear you say that the pause potentially is 4 to 6 weeks before recommendations are being made. Because I know during the work session, there were multiple assembly members who were not interested in having this an indefinite pause, because obviously I think everybody recognizes from the administration to the assembly we have to make some decisions. And the longer the pause, if we decide to go SAP, the higher vulnerability it is to the project and the higher the cost. And just thinking about what your pause is like, it dovetails actually pretty nicely in with the budget, because the budget will be presented the first week of October. So the 4 weeks would give the administration the opportunity to potentially assess any budgetary impacts, maybe staffing or whatever. So that I can see that being very, very helpful to the administration, just in case there are any 2016 budget impacts.
Thank you, Mr. Bosky. Mr. Steele?
Yeah, it brings a question to my mind in terms of Zig's contract, and I'm glad to hear that Mr. Thurn has been working with him, but what is the status? Is his contract included? I know that's up to us, is it not?
Right, that's a side note. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I have a couple of questions. Ms. Dombrowski, thank you for taking care of the Hannah question. Before I continue, Mr. Trainee?
Just something I want you to look at. There's a cost in anything, and there's a cost in a pause.
Yes.
So as you're going through the pause, keep a ticker sheet that tells us, because we're going to ask you the question in the pause. What did it cost to have this pause? And it's not a zero cost. There's always a cost for everything.
Well, obviously,
So just keep in mind, we're going to ask that question in 4 weeks or 8 weeks, however long it takes. So I don't want it to be a surprise for you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trainee. And any other questions before I ask my second one? Okay. So are there any issues ending the contracts with the contractors?
I believe, and this is with Ron, the purchasing director's guidance, and what I've been able to see is that the contracts he's been working with each one of the individual, I think there's 7 different entities, and working through them to basically be able to make sure that next Friday they end, that's the last one. However, also keep them, depending upon how after the end of the pause, that those contracts are still in place, and be to rapidly hire people or similar people back if that's the direction you want to go. So I have not heard anything about the vendors seem to be working with the municipality pretty much across the board. They understand what's going on, and I haven't heard anything that says that there's a problem.
Okay, and just a follow-up question, and you may not be able to answer, but do you think that contractors are going to come back after a pause?
That is a huge risk. That is a huge risk that, I believe the group of contractors that are here right now are a very solid group right now. And I think the pause is absolutely worthwhile. We're going to be doing answering a lot of other questions during this pause that needed to be answered anyway. So I don't want anybody to believe that this pause is just a waiting period. There's a lot of work that's going to be done on a variety of different things that had to have happened anyway. I'd probably say it's very unlikely that all of the current staff will come back because they're going to go out and probably find other contracting things, and that's very unfortunate because
Right.
I think the team is very strong right now. We will do our best to maintain as much continuity, which is why it's also important to memorialize all these documents, get them finalized so they're not halfway in transition, and we've got to worry about picking things up. It's easier to pick up something that hasn't started yet than to try to pick up something in the middle.
Thank you. I have a couple more comments. First off, I want to thank you for having so much information to provide to us after only 3 days, because I expected this meeting to be done in 5 minutes, frankly. I do. That's why I'm cutting you off. But anyway, no, I really appreciate the thorough report. And let me just say this. When we had the meeting last week with the mayor, and the pause was revealed, I think that every assembly member who was in attendance agreed with the pause. So just know that. And when we had the meeting concerning the pause last week, there was no definitive date or how long it was going to take. And I really appreciate hearing from you today, and it's on tape, that 4 to 6 weeks, October, and I have some really good notes. I was writing really fast, but I have some really, really good notes. 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to have a recommendation from the committee.
4 to 6 weeks is what I'm looking for the committee.
Right. And even right, and I really appreciate hearing that. With that said, we're down to audience participation. Mr. Trainee. Okay.
Will you call the CFO in San Diego and talk to her? Liv and I talked to her for about an hour. And San Diego was one town that did SAP successfully. So would you talk to the CFO and find out what allowed them to do it? Who did they work with? Because they were very happy with the product they've got now.
Thank you, Mr. Trainee. Her name is Mary. Mr. Bosky?
It also may be helpful just to go back and listen to the work session we had with them, because they called and we had a big old assembly work session, and there was a lot of good productive conversation, I thought.
You're right. That's a really, really good idea to go back and listen to that, because the whole work session was just hearing from her. So that's a good idea. Thank you, Mr. Bosky. Okay, we're down to audience participation. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say? Now's your chance. Thank you. Okay, that's it. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being here.